the leg, it is comparable to the radius of the upper limb. Okay. Now, when we have talked of radius and ulna, we have understood that whenever you are talking about the radius and ulna or tibia and fibula, the two bones are there together. You should remember that this bone is medial in the leg and fibula is lateral. That has to be done, because if you don't remember this, you will make mistake in identifying the side. Okay. So tibia is the medial bone of the leg, but still it is compared with the radius of the upper limb, though it is the lateral bone, because during development there is lower limb rotation, which makes the tibia medial. Meaning tibia was formed laterally first, but it has rotated to the medial side, and therefore tibia is compared to the radius of the upper limb. Now, because this is the long bone, this long bone all long bones have this as upper end, lower end, and a shaft. Okay. The upper end of the tibia has the two condyles here. You can see this larger one is called as medial condyle, the smaller one is the lateral condyle. Then there is this part here, very importantly, this is the intercondylar area, and then here you have an elevation which is called as the tibial tuberosity. So there are two condyles, the intercondylar area and the tibial tuberosity, which form the upper end. Then in middle you will have the shaft, and this is the lower end. The most important thing to identify in the lower end is this projection which goes down towards the medial side, which forms a bony prominence here on the medial side of the leg. This is called as medial malleolus. So this will identify the medial side, and this will be the medial condyle here. Okay. So lower end has a projection which goes down, which is called as medial malleolus. Okay. Now we'll discuss each part separately. The upper end of the tibia, as we have said, that it has two condyles, the medial condyle and the lateral condyle, the intercondylar area and the tibial tuberosity. The medial condyle is larger as compared to the lateral condyle, and each condyle has, you can see a concavity here in the middle. This concavity is going to accommodate the femoral condyles. The peripheral part of the condyle is flat, which is going to accommodate the menisci. Okay, and then in between these two parts you will have the intercondylar tubercles. These two are very important things here, and this area which is there here in between the two condyles is called as the intercondylar area. Here there are many important attachments. You can remember them as MCL and LMC. You have anterior horn of medial meniscus, anterior cruciate ligament, anterior horn of lateral meniscus. Then posterior part you will have posterior horn of lateral meniscus, posterior horn of medial meniscus, and posterior cruciate ligament. These are the things that will be attached here. Very important intra-articular structures of the knee joint, which are going to be here in the intercondylar area. And these two are intercondylar tubercles. Okay. The other features of the condyles, the posterior part of the lateral medial condyle, there is a roughened area where you have the insertion of semimembranosus. Okay. And a very important thing here, the posterior inferior part of the lateral condyle bears a facet which has the articulation of the fibula. So fibula is going to attach here, and fibula therefore will not participate in the formation of knee joint, because it is going to be hidden here below the lateral condyle of the tibia. So that is about the two tibial condyles. The important thing here in the upper end is the tibial tuberosity. The tibial tuberosity, you can see here, there is the upper smooth part and the lower rough part. The tibial tuberosity receives the insertion of the ligamentum patella. Okay, so that is the upper end of the tibia, the two condyles which you can see here, the intercondylar area and the tibial tuberosity. And other features which I told you, here you have the fibular facet and posterior part of the medial condyle, which has the insertion of semimembranosus, and very importantly the attachments which are there on the intercondylar area. Okay, so that is the upper end. The shaft of the tibia, you can see it is S shape, meaning it goes down, and it is curved when it is going to slightly go down. It has a very sharp anterior border. Okay, the sharp anterior border of the tibia is called as the shin of the tibia. Okay, this anterior border is called as the shin of the tibia, which is very prominent, and you can feel this in your own body also. Then this another sharp border which is there here on the lateral side. This is also called as the interosseous border, because this is going to lie between the tibia and the fibula. Okay, so this is the lateral border, and then you can trace this medial malleolus upwards, and this will form the medial border. So the three borders of the shaft, this is the sharp anterior border which is going to be straight in the upper part. It is going to curve towards the medial malleolus, that is about the lower side. This is called as the shin of the tibia. Then you have another sharp border here, which is the interosseous border or the lateral border and the medial border. Clear? In between these three borders, you have three surfaces. Between the anterior border and the medial border is the medial surface. Okay, between the anterior border and the lateral border, you have the lateral surface, and between the medial and the lateral borders, this surface is the posterior surface. Okay. Now the significance here, if you can see here in the posterior surface, you will see that there is a oblique ridge here. There is this oblique line. This is called as the popliteal line or the popliteal groove. Okay. This is the start from the fibular facet. It is going to go obliquely towards the medial border. This is the popliteal ridge. Okay. And then this line will divide the posterior surface into an upper triangular part here and a lower vertical part. Okay. This upper triangular part is the popliteal surface. This line is called a soleal line, not the popliteal line. This is the soleal line, and there is the upper triangular part here, and then you will have the lower vertical part. This lower vertical part is divided by a vertical line into a medial area and the lateral area. So this is like the posterior surface of the ulna, where there was a line which was dividing it into upper part and the lower part. The lower part will be divided by a vertical line into a medial area and the lateral area. Clear? So this is the significance of the posterior surface. And the most important thing which you should understand here in the shaft is that this surface, the medial surface, is bare. This does not have any muscle attachment except for the upper part of the medial surface, which has three insertions of the sartorius, gracilis and semitendinosus from front to back. In the front you will have sartorius, in the middle you will have gracilis, and posterior part you will have semitendinosus. These three insertions only are there in the upper part. The rest of the surface is bare without any muscle attachments, and this part is the third preferred site for bone marrow examination. If we want to obtain bone marrow, this site is the third preferred site. The first is the sternum, the second is the iliac crest, and the third one is the medial surface of the tibia. These are the three preferred sites for bone marrow aspiration. Okay. This lateral surface of the tibia is going to give origin to tibialis anterior, and if you see the posterior surface, the important thing, this is the soleal line, which is going to give origin to the soleus. It will provide attachment to the fascia covering the soleus, and then the oblique popliteal ligament. The triangular area above the soleal line will give insertion to popliteus, the very important muscle of the knee joint. And then this lower area here will have origin of tibialis posterior and flexor digitorum longus. So these are the attachments on the shaft. Coming to the lower end of the tibia here, the lower end of the tibia, again you can see it is expanded. This has 5 surfaces: anterior, posterior, medial, lateral and inferior. The anterior surface of this lower end of the tibia is flat. The posterior surface again is flat. The medial surface forms a projection which is called as the medial malleolus. The lateral surface has a notch for the fibula which articulates to the lower end of the fibula, and the inferior surface, this is the notch where the talus is going to articulate to form the ankle joint. Now, a very important thing which you should understand about the lower end of the tibia is that there are some tendons or structures which are going to cross the anterior surface, the posterior surface of the lower end of the tibia, and these structures can be remembered by a mnemonic. For the anterior surface of the lower end, you can remember THANDP, thunder P. Okay, from medial to lateral side, tibialis anterior, H for extensor hallucis longus, A for anterior tibial artery, deep peroneal nerve and peroneus tertius. Okay, THAND, T for extensor digitorum longus and P for peroneus tertius. So these are the structures which are going to cross the anterior surface of the lower end of the tibia. The posterior surface of the lower end of the tibia is crossed by a similar kind of tendons. Here you can remember them as talented doctors are never hungry. Again here T for tibialis posterior, D for flexor digitorum longus, A for artery, posterior tibial artery, N for tibial nerve and H for flexor hallucis longus. So these are the important structures, and this has to be remembered. Very important spotting and viva questions. These are what are the structures which are going to cross the anterior surface of the lower end of the tibia and the posterior surface of the lower end of the tibia. Then about this, the medial malleolus, a very important relation which you should know about the medial malleolus is that the great saphenous vein is going to come from the foot. It is going to first cross the medial malleolus, and then it is going to run over the medial surface of the tibia to enter the thigh. So great saphenous vein is going to be related here to the lower end. The lateral surface we have already discussed, that this is the fibular facet which will articulate to the lower end of the fibula, and the lower end which has the facet for articulation of the talus, which is going to take part in the formation of the ankle joint. So that is the anatomy of the tibia. Thank you.